People of the planet Earth, I bring you greetings. My name's Darren Carnell, for anyone who doesn't know me, and I'm an artist in the UK. I spend my time painting people's collections, so their statues, their action figures. They send them to me from wherever they live in the world, and I paint them to look more alive, more human, more interesting, more detailed, and I send them back. And that's what I do all day, every day here in my studio. I've started to do a new series of tutorials for everyone. Can't even speak properly. I'd already done a series of 9 videos where I painted a Captain Kirk head from start to finish, and people liked that, but I had music on it. I wasn't talking, and people again and again were saying that they wanted me to explain what I was doing. So finally, I've decorated my studio and I'm ready to go. I've started doing new videos, and I've got a few different things on the go. I've got some Doctor Who heads that I'm painting. I've got an Indiana Jones head. I've got some other things that are ready to go on my desk. I've got some statues that are on my desk. And I'm doing all of those, but those are longer videos kind of showing the whole process from start to finish. So I can't show any of those yet because they're not finished. So what we can do today is paint this. If the camera will focus, it is a Groot head. It tried to focus and then it went off. Doesn't matter. It's Groot, little head. Now, most people who follow me know that I made a couple of sound activated dancing Groot figures in the last couple of years, last year or two, whenever Guardians of the Galaxy came out. I made one for my wife, and it was the only one I did, and it was the only one I intended to do, and it was so unbelievably popular I had to make another one. People wanted me to make loads of them to commission, and I just couldn't do that. It took me too long to make. I made one, put it up for auction. It did phenomenally well, and that's all I'm making of those. But I made some Groot magnets. If I bring this in, this is the light that I work under when I'm painting. This is my other webcam. This guy though, I made some Groot magnets, fridge magnets, that I sell. And I've done a couple of small batches of those, and I'm taking names for a third batch. If anyone's interested, shoot me a message, I'll give you the details. But a couple of people wanted a complete head so that they could make their own figure, but they wanted the head that I sculpted for the initial figures that I did. So I've done a few of these, and I'm painting this one now. I've got another couple that I'm in the middle of doing. So I figured we could paint this one today, see how I do it. I think I've got all the colours I need. I went shopping, I bought a load of paint. I've got the feeling that one of the green colours is not the right colour, and to be honest, I can't really remember how I painted the last ones. But that's kind of going to be fun, because you'll see how I work. I just make stuff up as I go along, but I mix my own colours and I get there in the end. That's the whole point. You find out what do I need to do, and you mix colours and you go forward and back and you get the result you need, and you'll see exactly how I work. So we're going to paint this and we're ready to go, and I've got the other webcam here on the light. So if I get that in place, and we can cut to that one and we get on with it. So you ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go. So we've got Groot here. Just put it on a stick so I can keep hold of it without having to touch the paint all the time. When Groot the head was cast, it was a basic resin colour, a little bit like this head here, which is a plain white, slightly more yellow than that, but it's just a basic resin. I gave it a few coats of grey primer so it came out that sort of colour. Just straight grey primer from a can, which makes the paint stick to whatever you're painting. And then I gave it a few coats of umber, a few thin coats of umber, just as a a base to work from. It's a good dark brown colour that I use for hair. If I'm doing anyone who's got brown hair, I'll usually do that on the bottom and build up lighter layers on top. In this case, it's being a tree, so that's the dark base for Groot. So I can show you what we're trying to aim for. If I can grab hold of the magnet. So there's the Groot magnet. It's actually not showing the green too well on here. The problem is the light is just there and it kind of bleaches everything out a bit, but that's the Groot magnet. So you can see it's sort of greenish, brownish tree colour. So that's what we're aiming for. So I'm going to put that back over there so I can see it. Oh, big arm in shot. So now I need to make some green colour. Now I normally use this colour called stone green as a sort of base that I built into, but this has dried out and the shop didn't have any, so I'm going to have to try and make my own, which should be fun on camera. So anyway, I've got my palette. Ooh, don't hit the desk, it shakes the camera, Darren. I've got all my brushes. I've got Groot, I've got kitchen roll, I've got water, I've got acrylic thinners. I normally use a stuff called flow enhancer. I mentioned this in the last video, but I'm trying this out because it's all that they had, and I've got all my paints here. I'm just putting them out the way for the second. Okay, so let's see. I've got olive green, which is that colour but way too bright, but I will try and use that. I'm giving that a shake up as we speak. Let's see, pale flesh, I could use some of that. What else have I got? Have I got any cream? I bet I haven't. No, got no cream. I've got some white. Could maybe use some white. I'm going to use some pale flesh. That should lighten it up a bit. Then I'll get some leather brown and mix a bit of that in. Let's see how we go with that. So, olive green. Looks like that. What brush do I want to use? That'll be a good one for doing the dry brushing, but to mix the colour, I'll use that one. Why not? Oops. Brush is going over. Okay, so olive green. Let's blob some wherever in there. See how that goes. Pale flesh. Oh, didn't shake that one up. When you get them and you don't shake them up, the paint sinks to the bottom and you end up with like half a bottle of paint at the bottom and half a bottle of, where's the camera, clear liquid at the top. It sort of separates over time, so you have to give it a good shake. There you go, that's a bit better. Now it's a little bit awkward doing this. I'm trying to do everything underneath the camera. I'm normally way more spread out than this because I'm quite messy and I take up more space, but I'm trying to do it all under the camera. So I'm basically getting the cream and mixing it in with that olive green colour, and the green is very powerful. It's kind of overpowering everything. So I'm needing lots of the cream, and I know I'm dipping the same brush back in the cream, but I'm wiping it off first just so there shouldn't be any excess stuff going back in the bottle. But it's loads quicker than having to clean the brush every time. If you just want to grab some quick paint, and I don't mind even if some paint goes back in the bottle. I know there's probably artists screaming at me, but I don't mind because A, I can just get rid of it when I'm using it, or when I'm putting my brush in next time I can just avoid it, and it's just paint, it's just colours, you can't make any mistakes. So I'm going to get a little bit of the leather brown that I'm going to mix in with here. So I've got the olive green, the pale flesh was I using? I've got such a bad memory. Pale flesh. Paint on my thumb already. That's got to be a record. And all mixed in, and it is totally not the colour that I wanted. See, this is what happens. This is more of a brown colour. Let me put my brush in my mouth so I can get rid of all this paint that I'm getting all over me. Okay, I need more green. Mix that in a bit. No, it's getting closer. That is actually quite close there. Okay, so let's wipe all this off. Actually, that brush might work. Anyway, I said I'd use another brush, so chuck that brush in there, just so the paint doesn't dry. Right, so I'm going to get that paint on this brush. I'm going to wipe most of it off. Now then, let's see, do a test on my hand, because that's how I do it. It's quite thin. I'll do it on the back just to test it, and I'm just flicking it across left to right. So I'm not painting in the gaps, in the, you know, all the deep cuts. I'm just kind of going over, and I'll do a few layers of this, so it doesn't matter if there's some streaks or anything. And I am noticing straight away that this is not the right colour, but we can fix this. This is the whole point of showing what I do and how you can do it, and it doesn't matter if you make any mistakes, because you can just fix it. No point in getting stressed out about this stuff. If you do something wrong, you can fix it. It's not the end of the world. Okay, so in fact I don't need to go back into the paint. I can just get it straight off the tissue paper there. Whoops, I just head-butted the camera. This is something that I'm going to have to get used to while I'm working like this, because I'm used to holding these things much closer to my face when I'm working and not having a webcam which is about 1.5 inches away from my forehead. So I normally don't have to think about things like that, and if I headbutt the light it makes no difference. Whereas now that I'm doing this, if I headbutt the light, the camera goes all shaky, because that's where it's attached to. But the more videos I do, the more I'll get used to it. Okay, so I'm just going over and over and over this. Because it's quite thin, it'll dry quite quickly, and it doesn't matter too much. I'm just going around it, letting the first lot dry, and then going back around it again, because I don't want to put too much colour on. I don't even know if you can... It's not really showing the green at all on the camera. Maybe this webcam doesn't like green. Maybe I've bought cameras that are greenophobic. I'm sure that's a thing. Right, I'll try and pay more attention to where the thing is pointing, because I'm looking at what I'm painting and I'm not really looking at the screen to see what's on the camera. I will have to try and do that. Oh, my stomach's growling. That's nice on camera. Feed me. Go away, stomach, I'm busy. Okay, so I'm just slowly building it up. Let's get... I think I want a bit more green in there, so I'm going to use some of the darker green. Let's see. I'll put some of that. Whoa, that's a bright colour. That's actually brighter than I wanted. Wipe that off with my fingers, because you can. There's no rules. He's using his fingers. Yeah, I know. It doesn't matter though. You can do. I've just headbutted the light again. I think that's just going to happen. Every few minutes I'll headbutt the light and the image will go all wobbly. I'm leaving the top dark because that is, on the one that I made, I actually put glue there and sprinkled, I bought a bag of fake grass that they use on model railways, like for all the details around the tracks. And I put some of that in there, and I bought some little pretend twigs and stuck them in. I might not do all that detail for this because I'm not sure how much of the stuff I've got left, but I'm leaving that dark anyway, just because it's the top of his head, and it's not, you know, the same details as his face, and that's where we want all the detail to be. So I'm just going over this until I'm more happy with the colour. I think what I might do, now that I've gone over with that darker green colour, which doesn't show too much on camera, but it's closer to that. It's gone darker than I would want. What I might do, because that was my bottle of cream paint, which is no more. It is an empty bottle. Pale skin is quite close to that. I'm already running out of tissue paper space, so I'll just fold that over. Keep on wiping that off. Let's see, if I just go over that with some pale skin, just a very thin brushing on top. There you go, that's starting to lighten that up a little bit. That's actually quite good now. So I'm going to do that over the front of his face. I might do a few layers of that, and then I might dull it down with something. Umber, chocolate brown, I don't know, I'll think of something. So let's go over the front with some of the pale, go under his chin because that's a bit dark. Headbutt the light, you know, why not? Oh dear. Okay, so some more pale skin. So you can see how it's just building up, and what happens, let me see if I can block some of the light because it's very bright. The green, which is closer to that green than it looks on here, it looks almost white on here, but it's not, it's kind of like that colour. Because I've been brushing it over the top, it just leaves all of the deep cracks and bits that are sculpted and the shadows around the eyes, it leaves those dark, and also in the mouth and things like that. You can especially see them on the back there. All those bits have stayed dark, and that means you don't have to go back and paint them again, which I probably will do, and I'll add some different brown shades to them, but it's good as a simple way of not having to worry about it too much. Going over with some more pale flesh colour. Ooh, that's getting closer. There you go. See? No worries, no stresses, no accidents. You'll get there in the end. Oh my god, I sound like Bob Ross. Where's going to paint a happy little tree? Okay, so that's okay for now. So I'm going to, let's see, leather brown, which I need, but I just noticed the bottle hasn't been shaken, so shaky, 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 shaky. God, this is gripping camera stuff. Right, here's that shaken. Leather brown. Okay. How am I going to do this? I think I'll put that brush in the water. I'll take this brush back out. Give that a bit of a wipe. Oh, still a lot of green on there. Let me just stand that up. Give the brush a bit of a clean. Just rubbing the bristles between my fingers and thumb, and it helps get all the paint off. Give it a squeeze. Give it a knock. Right, clean brush. and mostly dry brush and wet hand. Okay, so I want some leather brown. I will put in here. I want this to go thin. Let's try this paint thinner stuff. I have no idea what this is like. Okay, it's gone quite thin. So all I'm doing here, that might be alright, is random bits to darken the green and also give some variation to the tree trunk. That is essentially what we're doing. It's what Groot is. And there'll be lots of layers of this, and I'll probably edit some of them out because it'll be a very boring video. But you're just going forward and back with different shades, different colours. And again, his face looks white on camera, and that's really frustrating, but it's very green in person. Maybe only when it's finished it'll show off. I wonder if I put something white behind it. No, that makes no difference. Anyway, so some brown like that actually worked. Okay, so I'll put some more on. Let's get some more of the thick paint before I thinned it off. So I may have put too much of it in, and I want some bits to be thicker. Like on this top bit here, I want that to be quite brown. And because it's still wet, it mixes, which is good, but it also, some of it just wipes off, which is not where I want. So you'll have to go back over it when it's dried off a bit more. And also I'll end up going back with a thinner brush so I can do more detail. This is kind of just going over to roughly make different shades and different colours. Let's do some under his chinny chin. Okay, so I'm going to do this for a while and just go forward and backward with some greens and browns, and because it's quite boring and quite the same, there's not much new stuff happening. I'll come back on when I've done a bit more, and because obviously I've got to let it dry in between layers as well, and we'll carry on in a little bit. Okay, I'll see you in a second. Okay, we're back. So I've been doing this for a while now, and annoyingly it's still not showing up as green on the camera, although it is green. I'll take proper photos afterwards with an actual camera that will show the correct colour. Anyway, I've been going forward and backward with different shades of brown, different shades of green, lightening bits, darkening bits, and I'm kind of getting closer to where I want it to look. So I'm just going to do some other things. Let's get some dark brown on these. I'm doing some like little thin detaily bits now. Let's make this bit a bit darker. Some of these edges. Let's get some umber. Let's see, where can I put the umber? Oh, sorry, put the umber in there. And I headbutt the camera. Okay, so I'm doing umber only roughly. I'll do it neat with a different brush, but kind of, where's the camera? There. In these bits, just to, because while I've been painting, some lighter colour paint has gone in there. So I'll go back over with a very, very dark umber, almost black, in a bit, and just kind of really pull those lines out and make sure that they are proper shadows. I think let's have a bit of lighter green. just about making it seem random. It's quite a difficult thing when you're trying to make something seem random, but you're doing it deliberately, because it very often doesn't look random. And it's part of the reason why when I'm painting normal faces, I will use my fingers. I'll kind of put paint on and smudge them off with my fingers, and I'll do all kinds of different things, because you can often get quite good random effects when it's not completely controlled by you. Let's put it that way. Let's add some brighter green on some of the other bits, some of the tips of the leaves. Ooh, that looks good. Now obviously this has kind of got wet paint on it, so it's all shiny at the moment, but when I've finished it, I'll go over, hang on, I want some green right there. There you go. No reason why, I just felt like it needed it. So when it's done and it's dried, I'll give it a coat of gloss varnish to seal it in. I will then give it a coat of matte varnish to make it not shiny, and that will really help pull it together. It makes a big difference when you've done that and you've finished it and you've glossed it and you put that coat of matte on top. The stuff I use is called dull coat, and it just really helps pull it all together. So that's starting to look better. Let's see, I want a bit more greyish colour. Let's see. Yeah, why not? That's fine. And I want a big streak of grey. I want it lighter than that. Some cream. Mix that in. Nope, more. Let's get that over here, separate it off. Okay, there you go. That's a bit lighter. And I'll have that right there. Sorry, I was focusing then and I wasn't talking. Okay, that's quite good. Some brown. Let's have some chocolate brown, but quite thin. I just want to pour a wash of it right over there. That's quite good. Now as I'm doing this, I'm looking on the screen and I can see that half of what I'm doing just isn't showing on the screen at all, but hopefully you'll be able to see the detail when I take some proper photos with it. Let's have some more brown coming down out of that crack and all the way down. Why not? He's a tree. You know what, I'm going to thin that off with my finger. Wipe some of it off. Perfect. See, you can use the tip of your finger, you can just smudge bits off, and sometimes you'll get the best results you'll ever get. I think this is getting closer and closer and closer. Let's make some dark brown bits under there, because they'll feel like shadows. Where's that brown gone? Oh, headbutt the camera again. In fact, I'll use my head to stop it shaking. Hey, my head was useful for once. Okay, let's see. I want that light stuff to be even lighter. Let's see, put some cream there, get some of that green, mix it in. So it's very pale. I want some of that. Let's see. Whoosh. Right there. There you go. And let's see. I think up here. Why not? Whoosh. Hey, nice big streak. There you go. Yep. Thin it down a bit. There you go. And a bit there and a bit there. It's all about doing what you feel is right, and you can look at, if you're trying to copy something, you can look at reference photos. You can, I mean, if you're doing people, especially if you're doing portraits, or you know, someone's, you've got a statue or an action figure and you're trying to make it look like a person, then make sure you do use references, because we might think we know what people look like, but there is no substitute for having photos of the person up in front of you, because everyone has their own, all the little subtle variations in people's skin, what the bags of their eyes are like, what colour are the cheeks, do they have freckles, all these little things that we don't remember, but if we don't see them, it won't look like them. Like our brain remembers faces better than we do. And I know that doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. We will look at someone, it might be a sculpture, it might be a statue, and if it's not right, we'll go, that doesn't look like them, but we might not know why, which is why you always have reference photos if you're trying to look like a certain thing. But what I'm doing with Groot here, instead of trying to copy the screen used one, because when we saw that at the end when he was dancing, you didn't actually see it that clearly. So what I'm doing here is getting the feel of that without actually trying to copy it, you know, line for line, because you need some really high quality reference pictures, which I don't think I've got. And also, I didn't use it on my original model, which is what everyone liked. Okay, so that's getting quite close. More green. Let's just wipe that off. Hey, let's have some more green. Right there. That's quite good. And have some there, because why not? And some down there. I think some up there, and maybe, yeah, right there. Okay, so I think for now that's okay, because I won't be able to really tell what it looks like fully until I've got his eyes done. I'm just going to stand Groot up over there a second, so I've got both my hands. I'm going to clean off this brush, basically just twisting it quickly so the bristles are getting twisted side to side under the water, and that breaks all the paint off. Right, Groot's eyes. Let me try and remember how I did them. I don't think they were black. Anytime people have done Groot models, they've always done the eyes black, and I don't think I did. I think that was too simple and too stark. It's very, very rare that anything is actually black, and I think what people did as almost like they were black pupils in the middle of his eye, they're not. They're his eyeballs, so they're actually kind of a very dark brown that almost look black. So what I did, I'll use that one. I will get some what's this colour called? Someone tell me. Umber. Ow! Okay, so I'll get some umber. I will get a little bit of black. I'll wipe that off because that's probably too much. A little bit of black to darken the umber down, because I want it to be dark, but I don't want it to be black. Excuse me. I might edit that cough out. Why is everything going out of focus? No, it's focused about there, but it's not really focused on the paint. That's rubbish. Let me call up the camera settings, and where is everything focused? Because the autofocus doesn't work very well. There you go. So the paint is now focused, but up here isn't. That's fine. So I basically took some umber and some black, mixed it in. I'm going to thin it down. Yeah, that's better. Get rid of that brush. What brush do I want to do it with? I think that one. Okay, so little skinny brush. Ah, see, this is where the focus is no good. Put it down here. Little skinny brush. It's quite thin, so I probably need a few layers. I've got to try and not touch the rest of it because it's still wet. Where's the head gone? There you go. Yeah, this is very thin, so I'll need a few layers of this. But I'm just, whoop, nearly knocked the thing off the stick. Going around the eyeballs here. Yeah, I've possibly thinned it down a little bit more than I wanted, which means it's going to take a few more layers, which is fine. It just takes a little bit longer, that's all. So I'm just going to go forward and back. Might have to let that dry for a little bit. See, when I'm painting myself, I will normally just sit there and listen to music and read stuff online and just wait for things to dry, and it's no big deal. But when you're talking on a video, it kind of gets very boring if you just sit there for 5 minutes waiting for something to dry. Oh, see, now it's focused on the paint, and I actually need it to be focused up here. Let's see, focus, 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 focus. That's close enough. Each layer is just making it a little bit darker, as long as you don't go over it too much when it's wet, because all you do is, it's starting to look like him, all you do is wipe off the last paint. So you got to let it dry. I'll tell you what, while that's drying, I will go in, seeing as I've got this nice dark colour in between all these bits that I wanted to be dark again. I might do this a few times just to neaten them off, but this is just to fill time for now, and also I can go in some of these front ones and just make those a bit darker again because they've got brown and green paint in them. Let's have this one there, let's fill that in a bit. We're looking good. I'm gonna make this one dark at the top there. Now some of these have definitely got paint in, so let's darken these up. Ooh, right on the top there, that's quite good. So it's just about making them look like dark shadows again, trying not to make them look like you just painted them black. They look very severe on the camera, they are less so in person, but you'll get the effect when I'm done. Tell you what, I will do some... Gotta remember where the camera is. You're gonna have to call me out on that, because I keep forgetting to hold the thing where the camera is. You're gonna have to get some kind of electrocution device, and every time I move something off the camera you press a button and go bzzz and make me remember. Also time travel, obviously, because I'll have already recorded this days before you see it, but you know, I'm sure we can figure something out. Okay, so while I'm doing this, the eyes are drying. This is just making the top a bit darker again, which will help for... Oh, I've gone off the camera again. You didn't buzz me. Okay. Let's give it another coat on the eyes. Where's the camera? There's the camera. It's still wet and shiny and not finished. I'm also not showing the right colours because it's way more green than it looks there. It's because there's the bright fluorescent light is about 4 inches above it here. But you can see a little bit some of the different types of different stripes, and some of them are thin washes and some of them are thicker. You know, thicker paint but thin stripes, and some of them are just bright green coloured on the tips. Oh, I have just remembered a bit that I haven't done that I need to do. I always hate doing it as well because I always make a mess. So we do that, hopefully wipe off all the excess. It's just about making the shadows inside be shadowy. Okay, go around with a finger. That's okay, because once that's... I'm just going to hold this out of frame for a second so I can look at it at arm's length. Sometimes it's good to look at things from a distance. Okay, that's quite good. Let me get this black off the... I want some more brown again, but this time I think some leather brown. Don't think I'll thin it this time. I think I'm just going to put some... Right there. Oh, a bit too thick. There you go. Wipe it off. That's good. And come down here. Coming down there. That's quite good. Maybe put some on top of that as a highlight. Ooh, there you go. Looks like a little branch now. Okay, bit more there. Right, let me turn that into chocolate brown. and make that one right in the middle where his nose would be. Whoa, too much. Wipe it off. There you go, that looks alright now. It's just about going forward and back. Let me get rid of that. I want some... oh, it's dried. Some of the cream and some of the green and maybe some of the brown, just to make a really pale colour that I can do. Whoosh, right down the middle there. That's quite good, that. I guess some of this grey colour. And let's see. Bit over here. Bit down the middle. Bit under his eyes. I think I'm gonna just do some loose brown, let's say. So I've done the top kind of a blackish umber. So if I make, just to kind of get some shadowy something going on, some chocolate brown, some umber, probably too much umber, but never mind. Let's put some more chocolate brown in that. Okay. Wipe that off, and I just want to be able to, almost like I did on the face at the beginning with the green colour that I mixed, I'm just brushing over these sculpted bits, and it doesn't really do much. It just lifts it a bit, keeps some of the dark bits shadowy, but adds an extra something in there that you just looks like it's not one plain flat. I'm holding it out to the camera again. You can't see because it just looks all shiny, but there's more. It's very subtle, but you can see it, and especially when it's dried and it's been dull coated, you'll be able to see it. It just makes it look a bit more, well, like wood, I suppose, instead of umber paint. Right, let's just do another, because these are drying a bit, enough to let me get another coat on. Hello again, I'm back. The webcam program that I was recording with crashed on me. Thankfully I didn't lose everything that I'd recorded. It kind of came back where I was up to, but when I didn't notice that it had crashed, I was painting and talking and didn't realise that none of it was being recorded. So we've lost a little bit, but not much. And basically up to there, the eyes are done in black. I've not done the brown yet, but most of the colour is done. What I do want to do is add some detail to the cracks on the front. So I'm going to get some umber, I think the tiniest touch of black, like tiny, that's too much. Just a little touch of black. I'm going to thin it down so it can go inside the cracks that I want it to. Let me try and see this brush. Yep, tiny thin brush. Little tiny thing. And I'm going to just darken these lines on the front. Sorry, I was focusing and not talking again. I'm gonna have to get used to that and stop doing it. Okay, so I just wanted to darken those down a little bit. Maybe a little bit darker, or maybe just more umber, but a little bit thicker. That's quite good. Oh, and my stomach's growling again. Thankfully, it's almost food time, so my stomach can shut up. There's not much to say while I'm doing this. What I'll be doing next with the eyes, I've done that too much. Actually, that's quite good. What I can do there is just come out of that, get rid of the the black, get some, I don't know, brown, and just do a line next to the black because that's what it looks like it needs. Oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what it needed. See, sometimes you just do a little random thing and you hadn't planned it and you didn't know it was coming, but you just look at it and go, oh, I think I'll do that colour, and you just grab one of, you know, several colours and something just works. Just clicks into place. Yeah, happy with that. So I'm gonna, actually, let me stand Groot up, because this is a brand new brush and it's a tiny brush. It's one of my eyeball painting brushes. So let me just point the tip again and put it back in its case, well, you know, its cover, so it doesn't get damaged. Come on down. I think my eyesight's gone. Right, there you go, back in there. Alright, I need, what brush can I use? No, that's a bit too big, don't want that one. That one will do. So, now I'm going to do the eyes. So the eyes were done with mostly black, but almost, but not quite black underneath. And now I'm going to take some umber, which is very dark brown, and I'm going to paint around the outside in umber, but leave the middle in black. So you can't really tell too brightly, but he's got normal eyeballs. I may go over that again because that wasn't perfect, because I can go over it and do a wash in black on top just to, actually, you know what it needed? A bit of chocolate brown in there just to brown it up a bit. Umber is quite grey looking. So a little umber mixed with chocolate brown mix. You know what? Change of plan again. Just some chocolate brown mixed with water to create a chocolate brown wash. Headbutt the camera, Darren. Try and stabilise it. Okay, so go over the umber bits that you painted with a chocolate brown wash. Yeah, that's looking good. There you go. Like that. But he looks wonky and gauzy eyed and not quite right. I'm going to take umber wash and go over the eyeball part. That will dry a bit clearer. Let that dry a bit, and I'll go over that again. And what it'll do, it'll just give a very subtle, almost can't see it, eyeball effect. So it's not just a flat black circle, which most toys seem to give Groot, and most people who make customs seem to give him, and it's not what he has. If you look at high-res screen grabs of that bit, which obviously I have, he's actually got normal eyeballs. They're just very, very dark. So doing this and giving him black pupils in the middle, but dark brown around everywhere else, but very subtle so you can hardly see them, it's just enough to stop it looking you know, so it's just one colour and gives it some detail, but it's not so obvious that it looks like a cartoon eyeball or anything. Just needs a bit to break it up, so subconsciously maybe you think it's got a thing, an eyeball. Okay, I need to move this camera a bit so it's not so close to my flipping head. That's just going to be all my videos. It's just going to be a constant stream of me headbutting the camera. In fact, that's what after I've done a load of these videos, someone needs to do a super edit, a super cut of all the times I headbutt the camera. It'll end up being thousands. And I'm sure after it's happened a few times there'll be lots of swearing as well, so that can be edited in. I'm just cleaning off these brushes for now while I'm waiting for the eye to dry a little bit. Let's see, just hold it at arm's length. I think that's looking good. And it, like I said, it looks way more green in person. So I will take some pictures when it's done. Let me just clean these two brushes. Okay, so I've got the painting done. I will let this dry overnight and I will give it a couple of coats of varnish. I will gloss the eyeballs to make them look shiny like eyeballs, and then I will take some proper photos with my proper camera, so hopefully you can see what the colour looks like. In fact, I'll stick those photos on the end of this video so you can see them. So that's it. So that was me painting for, I don't know, half the day. Learning how to do the camera, having the camera crash on me, learning that I can't not headbutt the camera when I'm working. So I'll stick the pictures on the end, and that's it. I'm going to go and have something to eat now because it's early evening now and my stomach has been growling all afternoon, and I will see you guys again tomorrow or the day after, I guess. I'll do another video. Thanks for watching this with me and watching me paint and hanging around with me and maybe learning a bit, who knows, but there's going to be lots more to come. This was just a simple thing that I could do in between all the complicated normal human sculpts that I do. So I'll see you soon, and here's the proper pictures of what it looks like finished.